Hey guys, what's going on? I hope you're all doing well. So I'm back today with quite a special video in my opinion. This is the Maiden tag, which is a tag regarding the legendary British heavy metal band Iron Maiden, and this was created by Cristian from Chile. So a lot of you probably know his channel already. He's been a very loyal follower of my channel and we always chat in the comments. So if you're not familiar with his channel, he likes a lot of traditional heavy metal and 80s heavy metal. And he's a really nice guy, so give him a sub if you haven't already. And what he's done is devised a questionnaire regarding Iron Maiden. So 20 questions about Iron Maiden. So it operates similarly to the metal tag, where there's questions and you answer by giving examples or your truthful answers, I suppose. So yeah, 20 questions, and a lot of them are quite quick to answer, so hopefully this video won't go on for too long. I know Cristian made a jab at me for my video being too long last time about favorite death metal albums, but you know what it's like. If I'm really into the music, I can't help but talk about it in some detail, so sorry about that, guys. But anyway, enough rambling, we will get straight into the 20 questions. So question 1, let there be Maiden. Who, how, or what made you discover Iron Maiden? Believe it or not, the answer to that is myself. I did that quite independently, really. I remember, around the year 1990, I was 11 years old, and at that age I was just starting to get into heavy music, like bands like Def Leppard and Motley Crue. But I heard the Iron Maiden song, Can I Play With Madness, on the radio, and to me it sounded very extreme at the time, and very fast. So it was quite different to the other stuff I already liked, and I thought, oh, I'm intrigued to discover more. And in addition to that, I don't know about other countries, but in the early 90s in Australia, rock posters were a big thing in music shops and cinemas and places like that. So I always saw loads of Iron Maiden posters in those shops, and I always admired obviously the logo, such a cool logo, and in addition to Eddie, of course, and all those iconic posters of him. And for someone who was 11 years old, again, it was very sort of horror themed and it looked very scary. So I just thought, cool logo, cool image, in terms of Eddie, the mascot, like the album cover arts and everything. And I'd heard something which I thought sounded extreme. So that just encouraged me to independently dig deeper. And then the very first album I bought by the band, some of you will know this, sorry, in 1993 was Fear of the Dark. So more on this later. So yeah, that's how I discovered Iron Maiden, essentially through myself and my own curiosity. Okay, question 2. Who needs words? What's your favorite Iron Maiden instrumental? Okay, they have quite a few, but for me, it would have to be Transylvania from the self-titled album. Sorry, this is the horrible AI-generated computer artwork, which sucks compared to the Derek Riggs original. But anyway, yes, Transylvania. Yeah, I really like that melodic picking riff at the end. Like, dun, dun, dun. Oh, I won't sing, but you know the part. Oh, I can't help it, can I? Yeah, that's really good. I also really like Genghis Khan from Killers, but my favorite would have to be Transylvania from the self-titled album. Okay. All right, question 3. Revelations. What are your favorite Iron Maiden lyrics? That's really hard because they have various members of the band. They're all great lyricists, but if I had to choose one which really stands out to me, it would be Alexander the Great from Somewhere in Time. Sorry, I can't show you that because, believe it or not, I don't own that album in original format. More on that later. But yeah, some of you have heard me say I was always interested in ancient history at school, and I studied it there and at university. So just Alexander the Great, about the historical figure, of course, and it just gives that detailed description of his life. And with the atmospheric music, it always made me picture the scene of this ancient world, and they're really epic lyrics. So yeah, it would be Alexander the Great. And my friends and I used to joke, if you're doing an ancient Greek history exam and you get asked something about Alexander the Great, if you know nothing, you could just write down the lyrics of Alexander the Great, and you'd probably get a few points for that, but you'd have to take out the emotional whimsings he became immortal. He became a god amongst mortal men. Oh no, that was actually true as well, but you know what I mean. So yeah, anyway, Alexander the Great. Question 4, The Angel and the Gambler. Hard to believe, but they sometimes have bad songs. Name one song that you really don't like at all. Okay, like most people, there's quite a few songs that I don't like by Iron Maiden since Brave New World. I think after that, no offense to the band, but it's been hit and miss for me, and there's been some great stuff, but a lot of songs I don't like. But I won't give a specific song, but I will say this: of all the latter day albums. I think the one that I really couldn't get into and didn't like much at all was Final Frontier. I just feel like it's a bit stop-start, it never gets going, and the songs are too long. Yeah, so anything from the Final Frontier really would be my sort of least favorite material by the band. Question 5, Killers. Name your favorite deep track. Okay, so I'm assuming Cristian means deep cuts, like not a cliched or popular song. I actually have quite a few by Iron Maiden, as I'm sure most fans do. But let's talk about some of them, shall we? Like, one of them is definitely Fear is the Key from Fear of the Dark. And interesting that the album's called Fear of the Dark, but they have another song called Fear of the Key. Fear is the Key, sorry. And you'll notice in this album the concept of fear. It's a prevalent theme. It comes up frequently in songs and lyrics, like even in Childhood's End, like just pain and fear. Yeah, but anyway, Fear is the Key. It's just such a brilliant track, and I think it's really underrated. It's a total nostalgia trip for me because, like I said, I bought this album in 1993. So when I listen to this album, but particularly the song Fear is the Key, it just takes me right back to that time of 1993 when I was getting into this band, and it was just nostalgic. It's nostalgic for me. But it is such a great song, like great powerful chorus, fantastic lyrics, and I like the sort of chugging, rocking part in the verse. Sorry, so Fear is the Key would be one of them. So I actually have a few answers for this. Another deep cut which I really like is from A Matter of Life and Death, The Pilgrim. Just that folky melodic guitar lick or riff or whatever you want to call it at the beginning. It's just so incredibly catchy, and it sounds almost folky and medieval. That's what I like about it. And in addition to that, just the chorus, it's so like different for what Iron Maiden have done, and that's what I admire about this band. After they reformed with Bruce, for Brave New World, they didn't just keep rehashing old stuff. So I found that the chorus in The Pilgrim is really creative. That part where he says changing water into wine, like this kind of like droning atmospheric vocals. But I really like that song, and it reminds me of at the time when I bought this album, I had just seen them live at Soundwave, more on that later, and I was just listening to them on the train on the way to work, and I remember these bleak overcast days and listening to The Pilgrim, and I thought it fit the atmosphere so well. So that's another deep cut. And one more deep cut that I really like. Who the fuck is that out the front? Don't park in my driveway. Okay, another one, Mother Russia from No Prayer for the Dying. So yes, no words needed really, but I think it's the most ingenious hooky riff ever, and I don't understand why the song isn't more popular. But that riff is so genius, and I also like the fact that the lyrics are really great and they're powerfully sung by Bruce. And in addition to that, like the use of atmospheric keyboards, it's fantastic. So Mother Russia. So yeah, I mean there are many more, but like there we go, 3 deep cuts. All right, okay. Don't worry, I do get faster. Okay, question 6. Book of Souls. Show a book, magazine, zines, flyer, or anything on paper by Iron Maiden. Sadly, I cannot do that because I don't own any of such things. It's a shame, like, in the 90s, I collected quite a few Iron Maiden posters, but it's one of those things, sometimes I wish I'd been more of a hoarder of my property, in the sense that I wish I'd kept all posters and fanzines, but when I was, going through stages of moving house and things like that, I used to say, oh, like, just get rid of clutter, and I wish I hadn't because I had some really cool Iron Maiden posters, but yeah, sadly I can't show anything now. Okay, question 7, Scream for me. How many times have you seen the band live? And if not, do you want to see them live on their next tour? Okay, the answer to that is once. I've seen them once at Soundwave in Sydney, Soundwave Metal Festival. That was, I believe, 2012. Yeah, and I was just ecstatic to finally see the band live, and I was, in the first 40 or so rows, and just, jumping up and down. It was great with Bruce talking to the audience, just because I thought, oh, this is live, like it's unique to this performance, and I'm finally seeing them. So yes, only seen them once, but they were fantastic, and I would love to see them again. Yes, on their next tour, if possible. More on that later. Okay, question 8. Stranger in a Strange Land. If you have the chance to see them live, when, any year, and what country or venue would it be? Okay, well, on their next tour, which is supposed to be their, like revisiting their classic era, I think. Sorry, I'm not so up to date, but I would love to see them in Japan. Obviously, because I live in Asia, Japan is closer than Australia now, and also I would just really love to, you know, rock out to Iron Maiden with some Japanese metal fans. It would be really cool. It's sad, I was actually supposed to go there in 2012 for the Kiss Monster tour in Japan, but I got the ticket and then my work didn't let me go. Fucking hell. So like, yeah, didn't get to see. So missed out on Kiss in Japan, but I would love to see Maiden in Japan in the next couple of years, hopefully. All right. Just making sure I'm not missing anything. Question 9, Isle of Avalon. 5 records you will take, so 5 Iron Maiden records that you would take with you to a desert island. Okay, so my choice is going to be unconventional here, but please don't hate me, and it's my list. But the 5, I would say Fear of the Dark, obviously, because it's one of my favorite albums, very nostalgic, and it was the first one I discovered. And what else did I say? Killers, absolutely. See, I've got the shirt here. Killers, yeah, just such a legendary raw album with that really old traditional heavy metal sound, so absolutely essential, and you have to take some Diano with you to the desert island. Okay, and the next one actually is No Prayer for the Dying. So again, I know this is not a popular album among Iron Maiden fans, but it's one of my favorites. Like these 2 albums right here, Fear of the Dark and No Prayer for the Dying, I think they're criminally underrated, and this album again is very nostalgic for me from the early 90s. So yeah, No Prayer for the Dying, a lot of great songs on this one. The other one I would take, but I need to get it first because like I said, believe it or not, I don't own Somewhere in Time in original format. So yes, so I'd have to get that before I go to the desert island. And believe it or not, choice number 5 would be Senjutsu. I don't care what you say. A lot of people say this album's incredibly boring and it didn't do much for them. I just love it, and I found that listening to it more and more, it really has grown on me. When I first moved to the coast 3 years ago, this was the album I was playing all the time. So like, it's very nostalgic of 3 years ago and like running along the beach, and it's good music for that as well. So Senjutsu. So yes, these are the 4 albums. They would be in no particular order: Killers, Fear of the Dark, No Prayer for the Dying, Senjutsu, and Somewhere in Time. Unconventional choices maybe, but they're mine. Okay. All right, question 10, Blood Brothers. What would be the record to introduce your son, daughter, nephew, niece, or any young listener to the band? Okay, I don't have children, but if I was trying to introduce a younger person to the band, I would recommend starting with Killers. Like I said, I said this in like a thread of Josh Keach's, I think. Yeah, like this would be an album to introduce someone into heavy metal because it's very early 80s. It's got that raw 80s heavy metal sound. Like, don't get me wrong, of course the stuff with Bruce is great, but I think you really need to take someone to the raw, energetic origins of this band, and I think Killers would be a great album to introduce a fan, you know, a potential fan to Iron Maiden. Yeah, okay. What have we got next? Question 11. The Legacy, show or release you have in more than one physical format. Believe it or not, I only own one album in more than one physical format, and it's one that may surprise people, but it is No Prayer for the Dying. So there we have the CD and the record, and this, you know, I always thought this is such a cool cover. I like the color and just the artwork. I remember when I was 11 years old, I told my parents excitedly about this poster, and they weren't too impressed, but yeah, just really like this album. So what I owned it on CD already, but I saw this like a new copy in Bangkok and decided to snap it up because it's a classic and criminally underrated album. So No Prayer for the Dying again. Okay, question 12. Man on the Edge. Why should you give the Blaze Bayley years another try? Okay, to be honest, I'm not too familiar with the Blaze Bayley era. I don't own any albums in original format. I think the X Factor was the good one from songs. I've heard some songs on that, which I like. I don't own Virtual 11 or Virtual X1. I heard that was the one that was really bad. But in any case, I don't mind some Blaze Bayley songs. And there's one in particular that I really like, and that is Virus, just because it's got such this, like a dark, dreary UK depressive atmosphere. But like it's just so good, like the vocal melodies in that. So yeah, Virus, I think that was only released as a single, but if I could find that, I would snap up a copy because I think it's a great song by Blaze. So there you go. All right. Question 13, Sheriff of Huddersfield. The band have done a lot of cool B-sides. Name one of your favorite ones. To be honest, I wasn't familiar with all the B-sides they had done, so I had to actually research this, but from the list that was produced, I will go with, from the self-titled album, Remember Tomorrow. Again, one of my favorite Iron Maiden songs, and I remember when I first heard that, I just thought it's so incredibly dark and atmospheric and also powerful, but great song, yep. So, Remember Tomorrow, favorite B-side. Okay. Okay, question 14, Running Free. A song you have to play loud while driving. Okay, there are many Iron Maiden songs that would be good for that, but the one that immediately sprang to mind was From Fear of the Dark, Be Quick or Be Dead. This was the first album, the first album I bought, as I said, so obviously the first song I heard through properly was Be Quick or Be Dead, and I just love that song. It's just fast, galloping, upbeat, energetic, and I love the guitar solo, I love Bruce's vocals, and it's just awesome for driving fast, even though I wouldn't recommend that because it's dangerous. But yes, Be Quick or Be Dead, crank it up in the car. All right. Question 15, 22 Acacia Avenue. You move into a new home. You play one record up to 10 to announce to your neighbors, here's Johnny. Yes, I frequently do that. And the album that I would choose, it would have to be this classic one. I would go with Number of the Beast. Yeah, so it may seem like a cliched album, but you know, cliches come from somewhere. It's because it's absolutely legendary. This has got fast songs, it's got slow songs, really catchy, hooky melodies. It's got epic songs. You know, like everyone knows this album, so I don't need to say much, but I just think, especially like the introduction with Invaders, like dun 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 dun, like when you crank it up, it's like, hello neighbors, I'm here. So yes, Number of the Beast. All right. Question 16, Alexander the Great. Who's your favorite band member? Again, that's really hard because I think they all seem like pretty cool guys. Most people would say Bruce or Steve, I think, and I admire both of those band members the most, but I would say probably my favorite one, maybe because he's more obscure, I'd say is Dave Murray, one of the guitarists, one of the now 3 guitarists. Just because I think he's a really cool guy, like very laid back and quiet, even more so than Steve or someone like that. And when you hear him speak, he's got that real sort of British English drawl to his voice, like he's as British as tea and marmalade, you know. And he's always very laid back. Like when I saw him playing live, like all the people in the audience were screaming, he was playing the guitar, oh, thank you. It's just funny. And even when he always seems calm and chilled out, like nothing worries him. Like I saw, you know, when Blaze Bayley had the meltdown at that Chile performance and Steve Harris is going, doing the kill thing, Dave Murray's just standing there smiling. I don't think, he wasn't laughing at Blaze's misfortune, but I think he's just like that diplomatic, laid-back guy who keeps the peace. And yeah, he's not fighting for the spotlight, so I would say Dave Murray. Yeah, but I think like everyone in the band is great, of course. Fantastic musicians and personalities. All right, question 17. The loneliness of the long-distance runner. You're going for a walk, a long one. Name the first track and the last track on your playlist. So probably a lot of you know that I am a long distance runner. I like going running a lot. So, and it may sound like a cliche, but I do love that song, The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner, and it is a good running song. But believe it or not, both of my choices come from this album, Senjutsu again. So the first track I would play when starting the run would be Stratejo or Stratejo or however you say it, just because it's got that like a sort of classic mid-paced gallop, you know, like the opening, the start of a journey or a performance or something like that. So I just really like that, and you know, just that beat like din, 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 you know, it's just good to kick off the run as you're warming up. And then the song that I would play at the end, and I know this for a fact, is The Time Machine, one of the songs that grew on me more lately than some of the others, but it's based on a true story. One day I was running here along the beach, you know, up and down, and I was listening to this album because it's epic, and I remember at the time I finished the run, The Time Machine was playing, and it was that galloping riff at the end, and it was just like the soundtrack of triumph because I was running, coming to the end of the run. It's a din, diddle-in, diddle-in, din, diddle-in, din, diddle-in, you know, that gallop, and it just suit the atmosphere perfectly. Yeah, so for the start and end of a walk or run, I would say Strahejo and The Time Machine. Sorry, I just ate before, so I lost my train of thought there. All right, question 18. Weekend Warrior. Steve and the boys love football and West Ham is his favourite team. Talk about your favourite sport team or team if you have one. But I can't really do that actually because I don't follow sports. I haven't for a long time. Basically, ever since I discovered music, I lost interest in spectator sports. When I was very young, I used to be obsessed with rugby league. Now, I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with that. You probably don't know what it is, but it's similar to rugby union, except, you know, in rugby union, the play keeps going, like they form rucks and mauls, whereas in rugby league, once someone's tackled, they get up and play the ball. So it's more stop-start in rugby league, but I used to be obsessed with rugby league, and my favourite team at the time was Balmain Tigers. That was a Sydney team, which is where I'm from, and like it was very close to where I grew up, so Balmain Tigers was my local team, and I used to, you know, go and see live games with my family and everything, really enjoyed that. And like I said, I don't hate sports now, it just doesn't interest me that much, but yeah, Balmain Tigers, and then later they merged with another rugby league team called the West's Magpies, or Western Suburbs Magpies, so they joined from Balmain Tigers and West Magpies into West's Tigers now. But yeah, by default that would be my team, but no other teams followed since then really. Okay, question 19, holy smoke, name something that you would like the band to release, or what record do you need or want to add to the collection? You know the answer to this. It is Somewhere in Time. Like I said, it's probably my favorite album. #1 favorite album by Iron Maiden, but I've never owned it in physical format. I remember a few years ago at one of the local markets, I saw it on sale and I hesitated, and that was not prudent of me to do that. I should have just bought it because, especially in vinyl format, it's a great artwork, so I'd really like to get Somewhere in Time. Oh, by the way, for Desert Island albums, if I could bring 6, the 6th one would be Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Great album. Okay, and question 20. So, why do you still listen to the band after so many years? As the girl said in Flight 666 from the family in Melbourne, because they're fucking awesome, man. Yeah, like they are a fantastic band, and like I said, they're one of my favorite bands of all time. As you all know, like in my response video to Maze of Torment, I said Iron Maiden is in my top 10 bands of all time, and that still stands. It's just classic heavy metal. Like even this morning when I was revisiting some albums, you know, just when you think you've heard Iron Maiden to death, whenever you put it on, or at least in my case, I'm still singing along and really enjoying it. And their music, it's sort of like the equivalent to an old friend. Like you just never get sick of it. Once this gets in your system, you're just going to love it forever, in my opinion anyway. So yes, that's my answer. Why do I still listen to the band? Because I think they're brilliant and I still really enjoy their music. Okay, so that's it guys. 22 minutes, not too bad for my standards. Apologies if you found this too long, but yeah, I'm personally impressed. Okay, so thanks a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Cristian, thank you for doing this questionnaire, this tag. I really enjoyed it. And I noticed that George G did one for AC/DC, so I might have a go at that too, except George, I'm not sure how well I'll be able to answer that because I don't own all of the AC/DC albums, but we'll see. But there's that coming up. But trust me, there's a shitload of other things in the pipeline for this channel, so you will see me in the next video very soon. So thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.